Hi everybody. I wanted to do part 3 of what I'm calling the Back to Basics series, which is basically this in particular is going to cover the 45-degree angled shot with a fixed gyro angle of 45 degrees without using the TDC, just directly setting the gyro angle. Okay, and I decided to call this Back to Basics because really, it really is basic from a standpoint of helping people understand, hopefully anyway, helping people understand what the TDC is doing for you, and just to know that the TDC itself doesn't make your shots more accurate, it makes your life easier. If you wanted to, and you had the time to do it, and the concentration to do it, you could certainly do an entire engagement in Wolfpack without using the TDC, okay? But the TDC is there to make the attack more flexible, in a sense that you can take advantage of of changing situations, take advantage of all situations really, at the blink of an eye. Okay, whereas with no TDC shooting takes a little planning. Okay, that's obviously the biggest disadvantage of it. But in order to understand the factors that go into the torpedo solution, especially things like why range doesn't necessarily matter, or when it doesn't matter, and the whole concept of parallax. That's what I'm trying to get at here. That's really the basic part of it. Okay, so I'm obviously in tutorial. I'm not going to use this video to demonstrate data gathering methods. That's for my other videos and for part 1 in this series. I'm just going to assume that I know what the target data is already, and I'll use the tutorial for that. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate first and foremost on this far target, that one right there. That's this guy here that's going 7.2 knots. I am going to I already set up some information here on the map just to preload this. So that's this target here. He's 7.2 knots. I've drawn the speed vector here for the target at his course and speed. I've drawn I want to do a 90-degree attack, 90-degree impact angle. So I've drawn a torpedo course here at 90 degrees to his course. At the end of it, in the length of corresponds to 30 knots, just like this. All right. Then the third leg of the triangle makes our shoot bearing, and that's our lead angle there. Now the attack course. I'm just going to stop turning here. The attack course is going to be 45 degrees from the torpedo course. This is the gyro angle here that we're setting. So when I figure out the attack course, if I'm doing an angled shot, I always have to go from the torpedo course. So you can see that angle is 45 degrees. This is 45 degrees right here. That's a 45-degree angle shot, right? So I've got this triangle built. I've drawn my torpedo course. This is the shoot bearing. I then lay out the attack course at the gyro angle that I want, 45 degrees. That's the attack course that I want to steer, which in this case is 59 degrees, okay? This is the shoot bearing true that I want, which is about about a half a degree, okay? So I have to play catch up with this guy a little bit, but I know the attack course is going to be 59 degrees. So if we look right now, and if I turn to 59 degrees right now, the target's already gonna be past us. Well, that's not good. We don't want that. So we're gonna have to play catch up a little bit, but that's fine. I can use the time to further explain some caveats around this method. Okay, so the 45-degree angled shot it's mentioned. All of these no TDC shots are mentioned in the U-Boat Commander's Handbook. They are to be done really as a backup in case the TDC fails. Okay, obviously the TDC is a good piece of technology for the 1940s. You should use it to the extent you have it available. Okay, this is really just for learning. But it also specifies when you should be using these shots if you have to use them. And that is, what I mean by that is, should you be using them in what's called a running fight, which is like this, where our bows are pointed in the same direction, or can you also use them in situations where your bows are going in the opposite directions? In the most obvious circumstance there would be you're running into the front of a convoy. Bows are going basically 180 degrees opposite from each other, okay? So the reason why that stipulation is made, you can do it for like a 45-degree shot. You could, either way, you can do it in passing, or you can do it in a running fight. The reason why there might be a distinction is because of what's known as parallax. Parallax is the error that's caused by the fact that it's basically, when I shoot, you can see right here, the torpedo is going to run out a little ways, and it's going to turn. And where it leaves the boat is about 28 meters in front of where my optics are. So this distance here, because our torpedo is not going like this, it's not going up this line here, it's actually going out here and then trying to go back. That's called parallax. That's parallax error right there. That alone is why range matters on the TDC. If we were to shoot, if we could literally shoot the torpedo out of the lens of the periscope, there wouldn't even be a range dial on the TDC. Okay, it doesn't make a difference at all, except for when the torpedo has to turn, because of this lateral separation between optics and the point, and what's known as the equivalent point of fire, which is basically the point at which the torpedo is now on its course. All right. So why do we care about that? Well, since we're not using the TDC, we have to account for that somehow. And the way it's recommended in the U-Boat Commander's Handbook, and the way I'm going to show you, is you're actually going to do an aim off. You're going to aim always behind, because the torpedo actually has to play catch up a little bit, because you can see, if it were to just turn on a gyro angle that you specify and say, great, 45 degrees, fine, it's going to go 45 degrees from where it leaves the tube, not from your optics. Well, who cares, right? Well, we care, because if this follows a 45-degree angle, it's going to run parallel, and it might miss, okay? So what the range setting does is it corrects for that parallax and says, yeah, 45 degrees plus actually a little more than that. You got to turn a little more so that you account for this turn radius, and you account for this distance here, okay? The way we are going to affect that is we're going to actually do an aim off of about 50 meters behind the intended point of aim, which in our cases, and should in most cases, be center mass. So 50 meters, we're going to aim back maybe like this for a 45-degree shot, okay? Let's just take a test and see on our attack course here. Okay, that's 9 degrees, the shoe bearing is 1. Yeah, we got a little ways to go yet. Okay, so we're going to do an aim off of 50 meters. All right, that applies whether we're doing bows in the same direction or bows in opposite directions. Now, the key is always that you still need to aim behind. Behind, when your bows are going in the same directions, means you're going to aim toward the stern of the target. If we were to flip this around and do it bows going in opposite directions, which I could probably demonstrate on this target after we're done, then you need to aim toward the bow of the target, because then the bow would be behind, right? If that makes sense, okay? So that's an important distinction to make. You have to aim past your point of aim going backwards in order for this no-TDC stuff to work, because what you're doing is you're accounting for parallax. Why is it in meters and not in degrees? That's because parallax, the angle of parallax, that error, changes based on how close the target is to you. The further the target is away, the smaller the parallax error, okay? The closer it is to you, the bigger the parallax error. Why is that the case? Because these 2 points down here are fixed. Your optics are fixed, and the equivalent point of fire is fixed. And the closer you move the target in here, the bigger that angular error gets at the target, because these 2 points are fixed. When you stretch this out further and further away, that triangle gets like needle-like, and it gets very, very thin, and that parallax error angle gets very small. Okay, so that's what's going on there. So by that reasoning, then it's 50 meters no matter how far away you are from the target. If it's closer, 50 meters is going to be is going to be a bigger angle. If it's further away, 50 meters is going to be a smaller angle on the target, 50 meters, okay? All right, so that's what that's all about. All right, so we're going to go ahead and turn on to our attack course of 059. Okay. Just get prepared to shoot this guy. We'll still gain on him once we're on our attack course. Make sure we're going to gain on him when we're on there, but I'll double check and see. I think we should be okay. Alright, 59. Shot that a little bit. 59, 059 degrees, okay? Alright, 059. Alright, let's just make sure the bearing is moving backwards. It is not, so we need to actually... We need to lead him a little more to gain on him a little bit, okay? That's relative motion for you. So I turned there, I realized the bearing wasn't moving backwards at all, so I got to turn away a little bit to try to gain on the target a little more. Because again, ultimately, we want the target at a true bearing of 0 degrees or thereabouts. So we need to get kind of down here a little bit. All right, turn 90. So we'll need to just hold tight for a little bit here until he gets past, until he gets a little closer to the 0 mark, and then we can kind of start turning in on our attack course. So I can demonstrate bows going in the same direction. We'll see if we want to do bows going in the opposite directions. I just don't have any control over how far these targets are away in tutorial, so in the interest of time, maybe we'll keep it to the bows going in the same direction. Bows going in the opposite directions basically works the same way. I could demonstrate that like on this target right here. We'll do it from scratch. So let's just assume we have his course, which is you know what? I already set this one up to over here. I think. No, I didn't. No, I set that guy up. Okay, we can do this. We'll do this one. So, this target here is going 057 at a speed of 3.3 knots. So we say 157. Whoops. 157 at 3.3 knots, okay? We would be attacking its port side, just like this. Okay, so then we want a impact angle of about 90. So we'll do right about, doesn't have to be perfectly on, right about here. Okay, this would be our shoot bearing right there. If our bows were going in the opposite direction, we would be approaching from this direction, which means the 45 degree has to come off of this line right here. So I would come 45 degrees like this. There's 45 right there. So the angle between the torpedo course and my course is 45 degrees. There, you see it right there. Okay, that would be my attack course. That would be my attack course. That would be my shoot bearing. That would be the torpedo course. All right, so then I would set my boat up to be that. Okay, that's how that would work. Alright, so we're getting a little closer here. Let's start turning in a little bit. Yeah, so you'll notice if your bows are going in the opposite direction, your chute bearing will be inside of the angle, okay? Versus if the bows are going in the same direction, the chute bearing is outside of the gyro angle because the target is coming from this way. So you got to lead him by shooting when he's here so that the torpedo hits here. And then if you and then the same is true, the opposite is true rather, if you are coming from this direction, target's going down here, I am going to be firing my torpedo when the target is here. It's going to hit here. My torpedo course is here. I need to set it 45 degrees from my course. Okay. All right. So let's check and see where he's at here. Okay. So we're getting on our attack course. 59 degrees. Oh, my timing is way off tonight here. I'm not paying attention to that. Okay, so 59 degrees, just like that, okay? The chute bearing is going to be just over 0. Attack course, 059. Chute bearing, about 0.5. I set my scope to 0.5. True, okay? And now we're just going to wait. And we're going to wait, not until the center of the target gets there, but until about 50 meters aft of center gets there, which in this target, maybe that's going to be about here or so, okay? Or maybe there, alright? So now we just wait. And we're almost there. In the meantime, let's make sure the TDC is set up correctly. So I've got depth set to 3, angle tracking is off, which is what we want. I have manipulated the bearing dials so that my torpedo will turn on a gyro angle to the left of 45 degrees. And it's a little finicky, but if you get it pretty close, it'll be good enough. That's probably good enough right there. So 315 degrees, that's 45 degrees to the left. There it is, okay? That's all we need to do here. Now we wait until our desired part of the target crosses the wire and we'll fire. We have to fire from the TDC again because angle tracking is off, but that's fine. Alright. Almost there here. Yeah. We'll have to wait so long to get the sky that I won't even demonstrate it. But hopefully this is helpful to walk through how you would do it if the bows were going opposite directions. Alright, almost there. Make sure your course is still spot on, so that your bearing is spot on. Because you're aiming with your boat, so you need to make sure the boat is pointing in the right direction. Okay, so here we go. Getting up on the point now. Alright. Okay. Almost there. Again, 50 meters aft of center, which is right about there. There it goes. Okay. Alright, so now we'll just wait and see. We can just look at the map. Good so far. You'll be able to see how that aim off works. So that was at a range of about 1300, okay? Again, the range isn't going to make a difference. You're just aiming 50 meters aft for a 45-degree shot, okay? And when I say aft, I mean backwards. Okay. Alright. Might hit a little forward to center. We might have had to aim a little further aft, but it's pretty close, okay? Center mass, pretty much, okay? So that's that one. Let me just see how realistically long it's going to take us to get even within shooting range, because then I can demonstrate how this is done at a long distance. But I'm just not sure if the range is going to it's going to close enough, but we'll see. Bear with me. 292 is the attack course for this one. Alright, there's 292. Again, this is going to be to the 45-degree shot to the left. The shoot bearing for this one is going to be 253 true. We can't even see that target yet. Yeah, he's going to be too far away. He's going to be too far away for that shot. That's okay. We won't attempt him. But anyway, that is how you set this type of shot up. Just relative angles, right? You know your torpedo is going to turn 45 degrees to the left, so you always draw your gyro and your attack course from the torpedo course, the desired angle you want. The third leg of the triangle is always the shoot bearing. Okay, the torpedo track is always drawn at the end of the forward end of the target vector. So in this case, the target was going this direction from west to east, so I draw my torpedo vector to meet the end of him, and then that is the shoot bearing there. And then I'm going to draw the 45 degrees course from there, right? And this is how I set this up. It doesn't get any more complicated than that. Then when I actually execute the shot, I need to aim 50 meters aft, and that's just a function of waiting until that amount, or that part of the target crosses the wire, and then firing. Okay, so that's a 45-degree angled shot. Pretty straightforward. The next installment, I'll demonstrate the 90-degree angled shot. Okay, all right. So long for now. Thanks.